Today's video, we're going to talk about the 14 most common mistakes service companies make with their websites that put them out of business. If you want to technically include product businesses that sell locally, these things also apply to you in case you fall into that general category as well. But these things right here, I've collected over the last 20 years of doing business and the last 10 years of working with hundreds of different clients on all this basic screw ups that have either severely damaged their business and made it really hard for them to find the money to fix problems that they had, or straight out put them out of business, which is the primary reason why I made this video here for you today. So you're not one of the casualties in the business graveyard that fall for one of these mistakes that puts them there, okay? My name is Corey Zyman, owner of Guaranteed PPC, a advertising agency that guarantees results for their clients, more profitability from their ads. Been doing this the last 10 years. I've worked with hundreds of companies to give you the advice I'm giving you here in today's video. If you watched to the end of the video, I'll of course have some different case studies themselves of actual type of businesses where this has happened to them, how much it affected their results, how much more money it made for them once they actually did not have this problem anymore as well. So you want to stay tuned to the end of the video for that information specifically. And then, of course, I'm going to go over how to protect yourself so you do not have these issues and how to execute and optimize your business so you have every single advantage available to you. And I promise you, if you do all this stuff for your business, there is no way no one is going to touch you in your niche, because these are things that people don't want to do, but the customer that you have that you want wants you to do. So with that said, getting into the content, number one on the list here, not testing forms and phones regularly. Everybody falls for this that's going to get into business if you haven't fell for it already. That is, contact forms on your site, eventually they're going to break and you're going to be driving all this ad traffic to your website. It's going to be months before you figure out that your contact form's not collecting all its leads, and you pissed away, if you're spending 10 grand a month on ads, half of that on leads that you should have got and never got. And you're gonna sit around maybe even just grilling your ad guy, why isn't my ads working? When really it was your own fault, your website form didn't work, and you blamed it on everything else besides something that you yourself should have had in order itself. And so what I do for my business, as well as I tell every one of my clients, is you test your contact form every single month. Make sure the leads are coming through in all of the forms. Also do this with your phone. You would be surprised how many times the phone doesn't work. It's not connected. Or, basically you're calling and nobody's answering the phone. Is the salesperson actually answering the phone calls? And by the way, a lot of people like to say, well, I can only afford one salesperson, but they have all kinds of calls that go to voicemail. Not good enough in today's environment. If you're going to compete with the big boys, you got to have a way for calls to go to a secondary person if your primary person can't answer the phone. I'm going to talk more about that later on in the video, but getting into the second thing here, moving forward, not having an actual salesperson answering the phone. Without a robust sales funnel to develop the lead, people love to blame the lead quality on why they're not closing enough leads in their business. They love that because it pushes the problem away from them and onto something else that they don't control necessarily. They're not the fault in the issue. I run a PPC agency. People love to come to me and say, hey, Corey, yeah, you got all those leads, but they're not, my sales aren't going up. Well, half of the equation as to how much money you make from our services comes from how you handle the lead. There's a million things you can do, as well as do wrong, that's going to affect how much money you're going to make off these leads. I can bring you perfect leads, the best leads. You totally f the sales process to the point where you don't actually try at all to optimize it at all. You ain't gonna make money on those leads. That's the reality, and that's not me just covering for a shitty service here. Go ask somebody who makes a lot of money off of leads. They will tell you how much work they put in to make their leads convert. There has to be a process for answering the phone. There has to be a scripted process for doing the sales pitch. There has to be a way to follow up the leads in terms of the emails that you're sending out, the drip sequence you have, and how to price it and quote it, and everything is done very deliberately. Okay? in order to extract the right value out of each lead so that the lead that you pay for that you can, because ultimately you're only going to pay so little per lead before it gets to be extremely hard to lower the cost per lead even further. And then you're stuck with the reality of you got to increase your closing rates, and you do that by being very meticulous and systemizing your sales process, because guess what? If you don't systemize your sales process, how the hell are you going to improve it? Is baffling to me is they'll have a secretary answering the phone. They'll spend 20 grand a month on ads and have a secretary answering the phone that knows about how to actually take a lead and close it. At the very, very least, you got to have someone answering the phone that knows anything about what you're doing. If you got an HVAC company and you have someone answering the phone that doesn't know what HVAC stands for, when somebody says that they think this is happening to their heater, but they don't know what it is, and all the secretary can do is say, that sounds interesting. Let me have a guy come out to talk to you. It's not going to get you all of the revenue that you're going to get and should expect from your leads when you're talking about wanting to run Google search ads, because that takes as little thought and as little work as possible to develop leads for your business. Because if you go after people and interrupt them, you need to have a good offer and a funnel, and you probably don't want to do that either. You're going to have to be able to extract so much value out of each lead, or you're going to get priced out of the market. You don't necessarily maybe have to be able to afford an actual salesperson answering the phone, but you better have a process, a clueless person answering the phone, and actually be half effective with what you're doing. And not only that, but once that's done, if that person isn't getting comped for how many sales they're making, you better be calling every week, every month, and make sure they're following that system, because the longer it was from the time that you told them what to do, the more likely that it is that they're going to stop doing it, because people are lazy. You know it, and I know it. And if you let them get by, if they think they can get by without doing that process, they're going to not do it. 3, not tracking leads in their ad account. Half the return you're going to get out of your ads on Google, on Facebook, on Microsoft/Bing, wherever you're running those ads, is going to come from the collection of data about what works and what doesn't work. And that means you got to know every single lead that comes in, either by the phone or by the contact form or live chat if you have that, which you should also do, by the way, and I've talked about that many times recently, how much that increases lead flow, as well as letting people text you inquire, which is very big now. It adds a lot of profitability to an ad campaign anymore. That said, you got to track every single time that they can respond in your ad accounts, because you basically cannot get a lower cost per lead if you're not tracking that. Then you're just saying to the ad platforms that you have, I'm settled for whatever results you give me. You can't bitch about the results until you've got that minimum thing done, which is track whether something got you a lead or didn't get you a lead. People don't like doing it because it's technical or it's expensive or whatever, and they convince themselves it doesn't matter. I've managed thousands of accounts. I personally manage about 50 different accounts at any given time, if not more. I can tell you better than anybody how much the results are predicated on the tracking data that you have. Enough so that I will not work with a client anymore if they say, "Oh, I'm not going to pay for call tracking. What difference does that make? I don't think we need that." I'm going to say, "Okay, well, you don't care about your results enough for me to pay attention to this, because if you don't care enough to pay $50 a month to track when a call comes in, I ain't going to work with you, because you're going to bitch at me for the results. And when I tell you it's because the call tracking wasn't set up, you're going to come back at me and say, I'm not a dumb, I should have listened to you, and it was a waste of time, basically, at the end of the day." It's enough to where literally I will throw away thousands of dollars of client fees when the client doesn't want to agree to track their leads. It's that important. 4, tracking sales lead quality and or sales. If you have something where a sale occurs within the first 90 days, you want to track sales and pipe that back into your ad account. Not only the fact that a sale occurred, but how much they spent. Why? Because long term you will make at least 3 times as much money when you optimize for profit with your ad accounts versus optimizing for leads. The cheapest leads are never the best leads by default. They just aren't. When you track leads and optimize for a reasonable lead cost, you're going to be ahead of 70% of your competition in most markets just with that alone. But if you track sales, baby, you're going to be ahead of 99% of the competition in terms of what you're doing with your ads, because nobody wants to track sales and import that into their ad account for a service business. They just don't, and they just won't. The algorithm can only get you what it is that you tell them about that is successful. How can you expect them to make you a good return? You're not even telling them when you get a sale. It's not that hard to do. You can do that with something called offline conversion tracking. So you can bitch and whine all day long about how the ads are not making you more money and Google's so greedy. But at the end of the day, they're telling you they want sales data back from you. And if you don't deliver it, you have no room to bitch. 5, not marketing / advertising content. At the end of the day, everybody wants to sit back and just, I'll take my Google leads. When they're typing in hire HVAC company, I just want that because that's easy. I don't have to work very hard to convert those leads. I can have my brain dead secretary answering the phone and I don't have to do anything. You can actually make millions of dollars in a reasonably sized, good sized market just doing that alone. Don't get me wrong. However, if you want to make the really, really good money, you got to figure out how to take somebody who's currently researching about the service that you have and turn that into a customer or client, because there's 10 times as many people doing that than looking for somebody to hire right now. What I always though still tell people is, yeah, go after all the people ready to hire you right now on Google, on Bing as well, because that has another 15% of the market. But once you've done that, use the money that you have instead of buying the Corvette and getting yourself the trophy girlfriend right away. Resist that. Take your money and try to market content towards people. So when they're typing in how to hire an HVAC company, do I need an HVAC company? My HVAC is not blowing cold. What do I do? You advertise on Google and you have an offer. You have to figure out what offer is going to work, of course. But for the most part is HVAC not blowing cold air. Here's the 3 reasons why. You send them to an article that explains that. You can do a quiz at the end of that where you say, here's the major things. Here's to know for sure. Submit your email and we'll ask you a few other questions and we'll get you the answer that you want. You turn that email, which you can ask for their phone number at the same time, and you have a salesperson call them right away and talk them into the service. Like I said, there's a way more people looking for information than there are people looking to hire. Even if though, all you do is you send them to an article and they read about it, somebody who's trying to figure out how to get their air conditioning when it doesn't, they're going to hire somebody most likely. There's at least a 10% chance they're going to hire somebody, right? When they do eventually go search for HVAC service company near me, your ad now is going to be 3 times as likely they click on yours because they now have brand recognition of your brand name. So it expands what you can do with your buying keywords a lot more than you could otherwise if you just sat back and waited for them to, basically use you at the last second, so to say. Naturally, the bigger the price of the service that you're offering, the more the content's going to matter, because the more either they're going to research before they hire or they got a quote even, and then more the research they're going to do before they go ahead and pull the trigger on the quote that they're given. Even like air duct cleaning. The amount of people that are going to say, do I need to get my air ducts cleaned if I have mold in there? When they make a search like that, because that's what's told to a person when they inquire about that, getting in front of that person at that time can get a decent amount of sales. At $2,000 a sale, it's significant enough to at least pay for the ad spend. And you get yourself some funnels going. That's where the huge money comes from. If you could figure out, and what people will try to do if they do content is they'll just try to rank this organically. Well, very few people are going to see it then. The holy grail is marketing content at the top of Google and monetizing that so that no matter what they're typing in, that is likely to lead somebody who's going to likely be a customer of your market in the future, showing up everywhere, and you're going to get so many sales, you won't know what to do with it. Either by offering them branded content, or like it's similar to like where you have a quiz at the end of the content, like I was talking about before, which is one way to do it. Or you send them to an ebook that says what HVAC companies don't want you to know, don't get ripped off, whatever. That's another main way that we do it. Or you send them to a news article that says XYZ company was rated the #1 HVAC company in the Portland area. And if they basically wanted to know what that was, they're going to go ahead and read an article. Now they're going to know if they hire somebody, this is the company to hire. And you can go ahead and you can do that as well. Or you can do what looks like a news article on a site that's not yours, of course, just to be clear on this. And when they're typing in, aircon system not blowing cold air, you drive them to an article that looks like it was written by a local news station that explains how to do it, and that the person being interviewed explaining it is Joe Schmo. And Joe Schmo, of course, has a special to actually fix this problem at his site, which is hyperlinked to your website, and then you can develop a lead that way. So there's kind of several ways to do this, but don't stop with just the buying searches in your market. You can make the informational searches work. You can also, of course, make video, great video. Have anytime someone searches for anything on YouTube about HVAC, and make sure your video ad shows up. Or if they make an informational search on Google in the recent past, you can have banner ads show up for them, video ads show up for them. Or if they've made a buying search in the past, you can do the same thing. You can make it to where anybody that's starting the buying process, your ads and video ads and banner ads that drive people to content are everywhere. And respectively, once you do that, you're going to see by default the biggest, baddest mofo in your area, and they're just going to go with you once they eventually buy. Or you can get enough of them up front to pay for the cost of the ads that you can, get them to take immediate action. But the bigger play is you are going to be seen by every single person about ready to make a purchase, so they go through you. Not responding to leads fast enough. Okay, so it's baffling to me how people think that they can just, for a service that's like HVAC, like in our own company, we're offering something nobody else offers. So we can get away with responding in 24 hours, even though we'll have an auto response. But if you're selling something that has a lot of competition, it's a cutthroat space, you got to answer the leads that come in right away. Now, yes, I legitimately mean this. You need to answer the form leads within 15 minutes if you expect a decent return from your leads anymore. If they call in, you gotta have somebody answer the phone right away. And if you can't answer it, you gotta have a backup person. If they can't answer it, you gotta have a backup person again. And you can do that with simultaneous call blasting. CallRail has a service where you can do that, where it calls 3, 4, 5 people at once. Whoever answers it first gets it. So every single lead is answered right away. You can also have it with, there's several softwares out there that do this, but when a form lead is filled out, it immediately calls your salesperson and says, John Smith just filled out the form on your site, press 1 to contact John Smith. The salesperson hits 1, it immediately calls that person on that form lead, so you can answer within 60 seconds. If you want the best results, that's what you do. If you wait till the next day, you're going to get a contact with a third of the people by then. If you wait an hour, you're going to get half of it. So you got to be, if you are serious about making money and making every chance you can to make the leads that you're paying for, that are expensive, pay for themselves, you need to answer the leads right away. Not monitoring closing rates. You need to know what your closing rate needs to be profitable. You need to know what your cost per lead needs to be profitable, but not only that, but your closing rate. And you need to have a dashboard set up so you can keep an eye on it as a business owner. You don't micromanage your salespeople. What you do is you have a dashboard that says, I got this many leads turned into this many appointments turned into this many sales, and you got to have that dashboard set up so that if something's wrong, there's a sick part of your sales process, you can spot it and you can get on it. Sometimes it means the traffic quality switched up, and that can be it. But at least you know how to do something. What the average business owner is doing is just assuming all the leads coming in are going to be closed because you have good salespeople. And even good salespeople, sometimes they go astray, but you got to be able to act on it. And on the flip side of that, a lot of people say if their closing rates are down for 2 days in a row, they'll immediately panic. That's not good either. But if it's been 2 weeks and your closing rates are less than 30% plus less than what they normally should be, or average, you don't panic right away, but you at least start digging into it and see, has our traffic changed? Did we make any changes to our ads? Has the salespeople, the people taking the leads, has that changed? And you just start looking into it right away. If you do that, you're never going to run into problems. You should be proactive. The people that make the most money that I work with know all their numbers. They know what they need for cost per lead. They know what they need for a closing rate and all of it, and they have a way to track it all the way through on an ongoing basis. If you want to be with the big boys that make the millions of dollars, you need to be at that level with what you're doing with your investment. That, and you obviously can't scale an ad campaign if you don't know it's making money. Well, the only way you know it's making money is if you track your leads carefully, right? 8, not following up on leads enough. The average amount of contacts it takes to reach and finally get contact with the form lead is 7 times, by the way. You can look this stat up. The average bozo is getting the form lead. They're trying to reach out to it once, and if they don't respond right away, they just give up on it. Follow up on that lead until they either say they're interested in buying, and if you do anything less than that, you're leaving money on the table. You got to get a system set up to follow them up. When the lead comes in, I'm going to follow them up every day for the first week, every single day. Then I'm going to switch to every 3 days. Then I'm going to switch to once a week. And until I've reached out to them at least 15 times, I'm not giving up on them. And a lot of people will say, that's insane, 15 times. Hey, they reached out to you. the least they could do is respond to you and say, hey, I'm not interested. It's not like, people look at that totally wrong. The more you follow up, the more sales you're going to make of the same amount of leads you have now. Bottom line, you don't believe me, go out and try it. 9, not using lots of landing pages. If they even want to use landing pages, I should say. But even if they do want to use landing pages with their advertising campaigns that they're running, they want to send everything to one landing page. The user don't want that. You don't want that as a buyer if you're going to buy something in a different market. So why are you forcing everybody to read the same generic regardless of what part of the city they're in or what state they're in, what service they're interested in specifically, or how they even typed in the keyword precisely? But the biggest thing is what service they're interested in and what part of the area they're from. Because for a service company, they want to know 3 things. They want to know, can you do it? Do you cover the area? And can they trust you? And when you send them to the same landing page that says we service all of Dallas, regardless of what part of Dallas they're from, and that we're an HVAC company, and say nothing about whether or not we do AC recharges, they get to the page and they're like, do they offer it? Do they not offer it? And anytime someone questions themselves like that, it's hurting your bottom line, because that means a percentage of the people are just saying, I don't know, I'll just go look for somebody else who has a page that makes it clear, because you're assuming they're going to call and find out for themselves. I'm promising you here, they don't think that way. Some of them do, but not nearly enough to get all the profit from your leads. You got to make it so obvious that you do cover their area, what they need, that a 10-year-old kid could understand it. And if you do that, you are going to make a pile of money from your ad traffic. Why? Because your competition's too lazy to, you're doing it. This is what the consumer wants, and therefore you're going to make all the money and they're not. And not only that, but the ad platform itself is going to favor you because you're helping their users so much, and that makes people want to come back to the ad platform to click on ads in the future. So they're going to roll out the red carpet for you and give you cheaper cost per lead on top of it. They're going to send you a better quality lead, but nobody talks about this, how Google sends the person that they know most statistically likely to turn into a customer to the people they want to encourage to stick around as an advertiser, and the people they don't, whether they stay or go because have a good ad and a good landing page to provide a good experience to their users, they give them the least likely to convert person, and they damn well know what's the likelihood of somebody to convert into a customer because they've watched everything that every user's ever done for the last 20 years through Google, and they just know what the probabilities are of a person turning into a customer or not before they even get to your site or even, complete their search, if you will. So something to keep in mind. 10, not using many landing pages or campaigns or landing pages. Sorry, I got this confused. I just said not using landing pages on the 9. I already talked about that. And if you're going to be competitive in today's environment, you need landing pages. You need landing pages, and you need to be having many landing pages. So that if they're from Long Beach and you service the LA market, you're saying Long Beach on the landing page, and you're saying if they need an AC recharge, you've got AC recharge service on your landing page. That is where the real money is. You can take my word on that. This is basically 80% of what I do at our firm all week long is just Google campaigns and creating landing page structures like this. To go along with it, to make the landing page work, you need multiple campaigns. Everybody wants to just have one campaign for everything. If they're from Long Beach, to have the ad say Long Beach, you got to have a separate campaign for Long Beach. And to go along with that, to really clean up, you need a landing page that says Long Beach on it, so that what they search for and what they want is on the ad and is on the landing page, and it's all the way through. If I'm in Long Beach, search for AC condenser recharges, a recharge service. I want to see an ad that says AC recharge service, and then my city specifically. Not LA, but Long Beach. If I got that, and there's 3 other ads there at the top of Google saying AC service in LA, super generic, and I have a laser targeted ad, they're going to click on mine 3 times the rate as any other ad there. We know this, which is why we use it on every single campaign we run, and we have to guarantee results for clients to get paid at our firm. It's easy for us because we know these fundamental truths always apply. The user always wants this, Google always wants this, and very, very, very few people are willing to do it. They hire a firm who's cheap and trying to do it for as cheap as possible so they can maximize their profit margins, or the company itself doesn't realize the situation or doesn't want to give their staff enough time to do it. Regardless of that situation, less than 10% of people are going to do what I'm telling you here. Less than 5%, really. So you just do what it is that the user wants and what the competition's not willing to do, you're going to make more money from the ads than anybody else. And that, generally speaking, means your ads are going to make you millions of dollars a year, because anything that's going to be able to monetize that ad space more than the competition means you're going to make that, given that Google charges about what the market can bear for the clicks, and you're making more than that, so of course you're going to make a ton of money. Targeting buyer traffic. How many people that run service campaigns run broad match keywords? HVAC service company, HVAC service near me, buying searches, where it's 100% clear when the person's making that search that they're looking to hire somebody, not HVAC just by itself. Because the person who types that in, maybe they want a definition of what HVAC is, or they're looking up HVAC news, or whatever the hell they're looking. It's not clear what they want. And at least until you've gotten all the money you can from these buying searches, you have no business targeting people generically like that. You could try to monetize those generic searches for sure, but don't do it till later, because it's going to take you longer to get it dialed in. It's a much better process to make money from the stuff that's easy to get working right away. Use the money you're already making to get the stuff that's harder to get to work, so you're not pressuring yourself to say, oh, it has to work. Oh, it has to work. It has to work. It has to work. Or I'm going to run out of money. Or it has to work. Or I'm going to run out of money. Because that's what typical people will do. Set up the ads the right way so that it will work as soon as possible, and do the easiest, most likely thing to work first, and take all this pressure off yourself. I've talked about in other videos, the best, most converting keywords for service companies, even if you're a national company, by the way, is the words with near me on it. You're not making that search when you're not super freaking serious about what you're doing. So just target those keywords by itself. Make that work, then go after the people typing in, services, companies, firms like that, and make that work, and then go to the next thing and the next thing and the next thing. That way, you're going to be successful, because you're going to be able to use the money from the stuff that's like guaranteed a lock for you right away to get the next thing and the next thing working, versus what everybody else tries to do is, let's shotgun blast our ad everywhere. And let's try to get our ad to say that we offer the service, and say, if they didn't want the service, they wouldn't click on our ad. And you end up getting a bunch of competitors, people looking for the competitor clicking on your ad, getting to your site, not reading the ad, not reading the landing page, calling, wasting your salesperson's time, figuring out that you're not the competitor, and then hanging up the phone. This is super common in the services space, and the way that I see people that hire PPC experts set up their ads, with the broad match, so it saves them time. Google says you should use broad match, that's why we're using it, when really they just lazy themselves. They don't want to do jack their service fee, and they're going to use broad match keywords and pull the wool over your eyes. That is the PPC experts that are serving these companies, that are then getting your ad to show up for buying searches, but 80% competitor searches, info-based searches, arbitrary searches, and so forth, that you don't need, or at least not right away, until you're making all the money you can from the stuff that does work for sure. Not having offer on landing pages. Okay, how many times people do with services to say, here's the service, call us if you want it. And that can make you a great deal of money all in itself. Yes, it can, but you will make even more. You have an offer on there, 25% off your AC recharge service for the month of May. I promise you that offer, in addition to what you would have by default without an offer on the landing page, will get you 20 to 30% more leads, and you don't have to do anything else besides make that offer. Yes, you're going to have to give them a discount in order to do that, and that reduces your margins, but you'll have more leads for the same amount of ad money, so it'll offset it times 10 anyway. There's no excuse to say, I don't care what your margins are like. And if your margins are really, really, really tight, and you're saying, I can't lower my price a single penny, otherwise I can't make money, you raise your damn prices so you can offer an offer. Because it's going to get way more people to respond from your landing page per visit. Not developing customers. How many people don't actually develop their customer when they get it? They service the person once, they came in, got their AC recharged, you know they're going to need it again at a certain point. Why not figure out what the average amount of time is for somebody to get an AC recharge that needs it recharged again, and then have ads that start showing up for them on Facebook to encourage them that if you get your AC recharged this spring, we're going to give you 25% off that recharge. It will be effective enough because they know, like, and trust you already. They know they need it. And if you're going to do it, you might as well do it now, because if I don't do it now, I'm not going to get the 25% off. You'd be surprised how effective this stuff is. In a lot of cases, we'll get a customer and then we'll start selling them all the other that our client has by having other ads that introduce them to it, and then obviously have to throw them a bone. We'll give you the first time for 50% off, the first time 70% off, whatever it is. And then they try it, they start using that. then we offer them something else. And there's a whole string of different ads and offers that we give to them once they become a customer. And that gets your lifetime value of a customer up. So you can pay more to get a customer in the first place. And when you can pay 3 times as much to get a customer than anybody else, you can blanket your ads at that point in time. And your competitors will just be at the end of all of this saying, how the hell can they afford to run their ads like that? That's what your end goal should be. How the hell do they do that? And a lot of it is just down to stuff that they didn't see or consider, which is you got more from a customer than they did. 14, not pushing, and which ties into my final point, not pushing for maximum reviews. A big part of how much your ads convert users is based upon the reviews you have. Not only your review score on Google /Facebook /Yelp /other places that might, like Houzz and stuff like that might apply to your industry, or niche specific review sites, but also the number of reviews. Somebody side by side, as you can't dispute this, somebody who has 1,000 reviews, like if you have a broken toilet and you got to hire someone, and somebody has 1,000 reviews and somebody has 100, you're going to hire the guy with 1,000. Same thing if the guy has a 4.7 versus a 4.2 average review rating. So my point in all this is more than half of the people who run a service business don't actually have a plan to maximize the reviews that they get from the customers they get. You could sit around and wait for reviews and you're going to get 5% of the reviews that an aggressive plan to get to max out the number of reviews you can get is going to get. There's a reason why you see some of the people in your space have hundreds if not thousands of reviews. They didn't just magically, they had a system which, if you want to know what the secret is to it, here it is. You compensate your salespeople for getting the reviews. And I don't mean a little bit. I mean, you're giving them 50, if not $100 per review. And you may say that's stupid. They should be asking for the reviews just because I asked for them. And I promise you, it's not going to happen. You can try it for yourself. You can try to say, hey, if you don't get so many reviews, I'm going to be pissed. And you can instead say, I'm going to give you $100 per review, and you watch how fast those reviews come in. And to supercharge that even more, you give the salespeople a process that will maximize their efforts on it. That is, every single time the customer gets what they want, when they say, wow, that's the time you ask for the review, you get them to say yes, then you have whatever they said pre-written up, and you just say, hey, I've wrote up already what it is that you said about our service. I'm going to text it to you with the link. All you got to do is copy paste that into the link and you're done. And then you do it with them on the spot while you're still with them, preferably, or if it has to be on the phone, you do that as through text message itself. And then if they don't submit it within the first 15 minutes, you call them back. You say, hey, I was just wondering, I didn't see the review. I was just wondering if something was broken or you didn't get it. Make them feel guilty. Then they're going to leave the review. That's basically all it is. It's paying some money to get the end result that you want, timing it appropriately, and not just settling for, yeah, you'll do it, and then I'm done now. Just like if somebody says they're going to buy something from you, and it's a $2,000 sale, and then they don't buy, and you just don't contact them again, which maybe a lot of you guys do that, but I promise you, if you follow up until you get a yes or a no, you're going to make double the sales. That follow-up makes all the difference. So anyway, with that said, if you have questions about this, by the way, you can leave me a comment below. I get back to every single person who leaves me a question or comment on this channel, usually within 24 hours. If you want somebody to set up your ads and your funnel the way that I said and take it seriously, this is what I do for clients that are a firm at Guaranteed PPC. We also guarantee more profitability from your ad campaigns after it's done. We don't work with just any client, but if you want to see if we can work together, reach out to me at guaranteedppc.com. I'd be happy to have a conversation with you at the very least about it, because we offer a free consultation at the beginning of our engagement. Beyond that as well, by the way, if we've worked in your niche market before, like you're in HVAC, we've worked in HVAC several times. If you like managing your own campaigns, you don't like working with agencies, a lot of people don't, that's fine. If we worked in your niche market, you can take the winning ads, landing pages, campaign templates, all of it that work for your niche market to get a phenomenal return for our client in a different geographic area. Use it to copy paste into your own ad account. We sell those for a one-time fee and get the same results we're getting, of which we can tell you the results you're going to get with it up front before you ever bought that template from us. If you're interested in that, you can also reach out to us. We got people using these templates, by the way, to start whole other businesses, whether they're flipping leads or selling leads to people in the space, because the lead cost that we get is so low in the markets that we've been in for years. Or they were, like, for instance, wanted to get into e-commerce, they didn't know about it. You can sell a product that our client sells in country A and sell it in country B and have a turnkey business, essentially, using the ad template that we've created, sell it in that other country. So anyway, if you're interested in that as well, you can reach out to me. But basically, bottom line, all this stuff here is pretty much common sense if you really think about it at the end of the day. like I said, the more of it you install in your business, the more money you're going to make at the end of the day from the same efforts you're using to draw prospects into your website. And you got to be so efficient to make money, but then once you go further, you're just going to keep making more and more. And it's all stuff that anybody can do if they're just serious about making decent coin with their website and their business, their service business. I go into detail on each one of these points on my earlier videos. I've made 1,000 videos on this channel already to this day in the last 4 years. At the very least, you can go to my channel homepage and search for certain things that you want to know specifically how to do these points, and or just subscribe to this channel, as I'm going to be talking about on an ongoing basis the exact things that work and don't work for our clients, and give it to you for free on this channel, as I have been over the last 4 years. This channel has better information than you're going to find elsewhere on YouTube about how to make millions of dollars running ad campaigns for your business, because it's coming from somebody who spends 40 hours a week just doing ad testing and strategy for dozens of different ad accounts and clients, which 99% of the information that even gets told on YouTube from so-called ad experts is by people that are selling courses that ain't running a couple ads. They don't do what I do, which is 40 hours a week just doing ad testing to give you the information that you actually need to be effective with running ads if you don't know it already. So you should subscribe if you haven't already. You can also check out my blog at guaranteedppc.com/blog. The blog has actual step-by-step instructions to execute certain strategies that we know get results every time with our clients, with screenshots, with everything that you need to copy paste those into your accounts. If you like the channel, you're going to like the blog, so you should definitely check that out as well. But respectively, if you want to know what type of results that we could get, I already touched on this briefly, but I mentioned we've already worked in the HVAC space. You're going to get, in terms of tracking leads, you're going to at least triple your results on your ads. If you go ahead and track your sales and you get enough sales data into your account, you can triple the profitability that you can get with your ads again, which is real things that we've done in the HVAC space already. Specifically, if you're talking about marketing content, in the HVAC space, we don't do that so much, but we do this a lot more in any kind of like health related space. And we've made millions and millions of dollars just waiting for people to search for solutions to medical stuff that our products or services fix, and going after those people. And it's to the point where that just absolutely dwarfs any money that we make for people searching those products or services outright. Not responding to leads fast enough. Just being able to respond to each lead within 60 seconds, you can double the profitability of your ads just by doing that alone. Specifically, there's quite a few clients where I've convinced to where they fill out the form and then automatically that calls their sales staff. It's hard to convince clients that will actually occur, but we were developing leads for a car shipping company, and we were able to do that where the lead was responded to within 60 seconds, and it more than doubled the ROI from the campaign just being able to respond to all the leads that fast versus within the first hour or so. And it's a market where it really made a difference. Monitoring lead closing rates. I talked about this. I mean, this isn't really something that's going to have a direct return, but you got to know your stuff's working and know how to fix it when it's broken, so to say. And I always tell people to track their lead closing rates because I want to know how much the ads are working so that I can tell the client we can spend more money and scale this more. And they know it's working and I know it's working, so we can do so confidently. Pushing for reviews, naturally I've done a case study on how the number of reviews affects the conversion rate of the traffic you have. You should check out my video about that. But we're talking double-digit increases in conversion rate on the traffic you have that you're driving to your site just by getting you from 50 to 500 reviews or 500 to 5,000. Going from those kind of jumps, it's always going to give you an increase in conversion rate on your tracking or on your ad traffic. Having an actual salesperson on the phone, answering the phone, like in the drug rehabilitation or rehab space, we're getting at least triple the amount of money on the call-ins when an actual counselor is answering the phone than somebody who is just a secretary who doesn't know anything about anything, never been on drugs before, doesn't know how to relate to the person. Not following up on leads. For our own business, we get somebody who wants PPC management services just by having a sales assistant following up the leads and getting an actual answer about, are you interested, are you not? And not giving up on them literally for years if that's what it takes for them to get back to us, and or they say that they need a bit more time, and then actually following up with them when it is time. We'll double what we can get out of leads, not doing any follow-up whatsoever. Not using lots of landing pages, not using lots of campaigns. We'll make 5 times as much money when we come in, guys using one campaign, one landing page, or no landing page, and switching it to mini campaigns, targeting all the areas individually and all the services individually, and landing pages thereof. We'll make at least 5 times as much money, 5 to 10 times as much money doing that. We've done that in the HVAC space. We've done that in so many local services, also national services. If we're talking about survey companies, which is that we've done that, it's just countless where we've done that, where that has happened before. Targeting buyer traffic. You'll make a lot of times 10 times as much money in a lot of local service markets targeting the buyer traffic, because otherwise, you're going to show up for people that are typing in competitor names. We literally have 10x plus the ROI of a campaign by weeding out all that competitor search crap and making sure the ad actually shows up for people who are looking to hire somebody outright. We've done that in the pest control space before, just to give you one example. Not having an offer on your landing page. In the HVAC space, we were getting 25% more conversion rate once we offered a 25% discount for calling in today, and by so-called mentioning this ad, which is one way to do an offer on a landing page before, just to give you an example. And developing customers will make the amount of money that we're able to make from a customer in the health spa space versus what we're able to make developing that customer in follow-up ads, like I was talking about before, where you're introducing other services and the like. More than 3x we'll make 3 times plus more money with the ad campaign for the customer that's already bought from us than what we'll make on that initial purchase. And naturally, that's a business where people usually stick around anyway, but I'm talking about the actual ads that we run where we can track what they click through and buy. And that same customer, 75% of the revenue comes from what happens after that initial purchase, if you will. So anyway, I mentioned that I would give you examples of how much this actually works if you watch to the end of the video. I have it for you there. If you have any other questions, let me know in the comment section like I mentioned before. But with that said, hopefully that makes sense. You liked what I shared with you on this video, and I'll see you on the next one.
Remember when I said tracking sales was important during this video? Well, this video here tells you how to do it.